Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Robert Robin Westman, born June 17th, 2002. He is responsible, allegedly, for a recent act of violence at Annunciation Catholic School. So the information I'm going to be talking about today I've just gathered mostly from news articles, not so much YouTube videos. Okay, people on YouTube are saying that his father worked for the CIA, and you know, I don't have any evidence of that, so that's not what this video is going to be about. I love me a good conspiracy though. Okay, so Robin changed his name to Robin at the age of 17 as he identified as a female. Okay, so as far as I know, he has no known criminal history that I have found any reports on. He attended Annunciation Catholic School until 8th grade, where his mother worked as a administrative assistant for 5 years. From what I've read, he attended 2 high schools, including a military academy. I read that he did not attend the ceremony, but he did in fact graduate. He previously worked at a marijuana dispensary, but was let go due to attendance. He had this delusion, which kind of like, I have a really strong opinion as a person who often suffers from psychosis every 6 to 8 months. I think this kid had something wrong with him, but I think he was in full-blown psychosis when all this happened. Just from some of his, this delusion, for example, he believed that his vaping caused him to have cancer, regardless of the fact that there was no evidence that he had cancer. He had recently broken up with a serious partner and was living with a friend. So, you know, he had a stressful event in his life. Okay, and I want to talk a little bit about what I've read about Robin's mental health history. Not a lot of info is available, but a mental health wellness check was made to the house when he was a teenager. Okay, in 7th grade, he openly discussed school shootings and was suspended, and it was kept quiet. A lot of the parents and the other students didn't know anything about it. He openly praised Hitler. He hated Jews, he hated Israel, hated Christians, blacks, and Mexicans, and he hated Donald Trump. He was obsessed with school shooters. Okay, and he hints around at some indications of violent tendencies. From what I read on CNN, he wrote, "I feel like my mom would have seen it coming due to my rocky past with violent threats." So, I mean, this kid was, and he spoke of regretting being born. He was very disturbed, I think, from kind of a young age, from what it sounds like, and I'm curious to know his family dynamics. Some families, when it comes to mental health, are secretive and it's not discussed, you know, and it makes me wonder, just as a person with mental illness, if he came from that kind of family. But I want to talk a little bit about the trans thing. I don't believe the act of one person in any given marginalized group represents the whole group. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But he had a lot of self-loathing. He specifically hated his face, and because it didn't match how he felt, is what he said. And he also said, "I only keep the long hair because it's pretty much my last shred of being trans. I wish I had never brainwashed myself. I can't cut my hair now, as it would be an embarrassing defeat, and it might be a concerning change of character that could get me reported." So he was tired of being trans, but he was also afraid to stop, which I find really interesting. And you could probably deep dive that topic right there and come up with some stuff, but I haven't done that. Okay, so, and that's not really always a topic I discuss on my channel. Everybody is welcome here. I approach topics like the trans issue delicately. Okay, okay, and he also said he had some animosity towards his mother. He said, when I was first out to my mother, she was very antagonistic. She really made me hate myself and to think I would never be good enough. And so there he kind of like blames his mom by feeling antagonized. However, in other places, he doesn't blame his parents. He flip-flops on that. So I found that interesting. And I want to talk about the journals. Because when I was in psychosis one time, I kept a journal. And I won't even read it. Because it is nonsensical, dark gibberish. And it's all at myself. But somebody like him, like, he's got these tendencies towards violence. He, like, used that, you know, for, I don't even know where I'm going with that. But, okay, so he posted some videos of his journals and stuff that have been taken down. I've seen some people have, like, reposted them and things like that. His journals contain imagery of weapons, as well as the church layout. He even, like, went to the church and, like, scoped it out and stuff. He was methodical. And that just kind of, this is something I want to mention. Now, when you are in psychosis, from my experience as a bipolar 1 person, you still have a little bit of ounce of reality. I don't know how it is for schizophrenia, and I'm not saying like he suffered from that, but I don't know. He was definitely at the age where that would have erupted, you know, I don't know. But okay, so that just kind of proves my point. He was actively hiding this stuff, so he knew what he was doing was wrong. So you can't 100% blame the psychosis, but you can blame the fact that whatever he was feeling was super amped because of the psychosis. So I do think, I don't like to blame. I hate it when mentally ill people mess up because it makes the entire community look dangerous and bad. But this journal contained ideations of homicide and self-harm, and it was written in code. It was written in like some Russian code. And I want to talk a little bit, that's all I really got on him. I want to talk about RFK Jr. He wants studies done on SSRIs and the relation to violence, as well as those transitioning medications. I have not read any reports on whether Robin was on SSRIs or transitioning medications. You would think that, like, with him changing his name, he would have had to have gotten some help somewhere along the way. And he actually, I read, he talked about how getting surgeries and things was expensive, and he wished he had just been born a girl and he didn't like being trans. And I talk a lot about identity on my channel and how it's overemphasized in the mental health community. But I think in this case, I definitely think he had, like, some serious identity disturbance. Like, just my opinion, of course, from a mentally ill person's perspective, okay? In my case, in my life, as a bipolar 1 person, SSRIs can cause mania, and mania can cause psychosis. So, like, if he, for example, had bipolar and took an SSRI, and he had a tendency towards violence. Like, when I go to the mental hospital, you guys, the people with homicidal ideation are put in a different part of the hospital, and they're not popular. They're not popular with the mainstream patients, because a lot of people in there are just, like, regular, everyday people. But, you know, there's no reports on any of that, and I just want to say, at the end of the day, it's terrible. Good Lord, people. I guess that's all I have, and I'll see you next time. Bye.